Undead Matt, and welcome to my macabre movie mania. Today, we're doing something a little different, as I will be covering the most modern movie to be featured on this show. So today, I bring you 2015's It Follows. It Follows was the darling indie horror hit of 2015, and I finally had a moment to find out, what is it? It Follows is brought to us by the twisted mind of David Robert Mitchell, and this is only his second ever feature film. He not only directed it, but he also wrote it and produced it. The idea for It Follows came to Mr. Mitchell in a dream, as he always had a recurring dream where he was being followed. He decided he wanted to use that feeling of unease to heighten the sense of a horror movie. After production, It Follows made it to the Cannes Film Festival, where it became a big hit and got an international distribution. And in March of 2015, we were finally given It Follows. The film starts more as a indie rom-com rather than a horror movie, as it's just some quirky kids living their lives, living the dream.
What about it? He will provide us with that information as soon as it is available. I see.
Okay.
You're afraid of an overload. You can't tap enough electricity wherever you get it.
One of the odd parts of this film is that it seems to be out of time, as all the technology and clothing seems to be retro, but there seems to be also some modern things thrown in, as in that girl's Shell Kindle.
And what makes you think I'll give you any information? It is the only way you can save your own life when the time comes. You will be transported.
Which, yeah, what is that? Like, everything else kind of fits, but she's got this weird shell thing that she's reading on? What is that? Are they trying to sell, like, shell Kindles? Come on. Our main character, Jay, has a, young beau that she's very smitten with. She eventually gives in to her inner urges and has sex with him. Ooh, underage premarital sex? You know what that means in a horror movie, don't you? After their tryst, Jay's boyfriend tells him that he has transferred a curse, that an unknown entity will now be following her until it kills her. It can look like anyone or anything, but only she can see it.
Hello? Hello?
So begins the slow, creepy build of It Follows. Jay tells her friends of what he said, but they are hesitant to believe everything about this weird entity. It starts to drive Jay nuts as she deals with the moral implications of either passing the curse on to another, just letting herself give in to the curse and dying, or spending her life running and never being able to settle down. Not to give too much away, but they finally come up with a scheme to stop the entity. Or do they? It Follows made $23.3 million on only a $2 million budget and became critically acclaimed, gaining a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Many critics praised it for its 80s throwback and its subtext of STDs and sexual activity in today's world. I found the movie not very scary, but creepy and uneasy. It has this uneasy feeling all throughout the movie as this entity can pop up at any time, anywhere, and be anyone. The director used wide-framed cameras to great effect. As you can see, many things start creeping up in the background, and it also gives it an unworldly feel, giving in to that extra creepy nature of the movie. It is very much John Carpenter inspired. Everything from the look of suburbia to the soundtrack that he uses. It feels like it was torn right out of Halloween.
Been worth it, after all? After the cups, the marmalade, the tea, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me, would it have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter?
The film has a fantastic soundtrack from the artist's Disaster Pieces, which adds to the creepy nature, as well as the 80s throwback nature of the film. The soundtrack lends itself to the creepy nature of this minimalist horror film, as it doesn't rely on effects or big scenes or tons of monsters. It is very small and very empty feeling. There isn't even a lot of extras in the film, giving it even more of an unworldly feel. And that is the best way to put it, that this feels unworldly. Is this our world? And of course, any discussion of It Follows would be remiss to mention the subtext of STDs, as the curses transferred via sexual intercourse, and it deals with the social stigma of having an STD, and also the moral implications of being able to try and live your life, as well as protect others from this virus. It deserves further induction and further discussion, but I'm not very comfortable speaking of STDs. It's kind of... Now here is usually where I discuss the legacy of the film, but since It Follows is very new, it doesn't have much of a legacy. It seems to have inspired other minimalist horror movies like A Quiet Place and Thoroughbreds, and it breathed much needed life into the independent horror market. Since It Follows is so successful, the studio Radius TWC has said they're looking into possibilities of a sequel, yet nothing is set in stone yet. I, for one, think this stands better as a single movie, but of course, there could always be more horror to come. Now, this time, I don't need to run off, as, of course, there is nothing following me or chasing me, looking to kill me, so we can just kind of hang out and discuss. So how are you doing today? Everything good? I'm just going to continue to look this direction, because there is nothing behind me, no possibility of something sneaking up on me. Yeah, I'm just going to keep looking this direction. If I'm not looking this direction, I'm not living. Because, there's nothing that can be possibly behind me right now. Nothing at all.
Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Macabre Movie Mania. Have you seen It Follows yet? What did you think? Do you think it'll change the course of horror movies to come, or do you think this is just a one-off? Let me know in those comments below. Hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, think about it. It might be fun. And of course, as always, I vote on my next episodes of Macabre Movie Mania, so make sure you're following me at wizard_Matt to get your vote heard. And if you're not too busy, why don't you check out one of these two other videos, as they are very awesome if I do say so myself. Thanks again.